What is up, Space Gamers? And everyone in between. It is I, Astro Nesto, back in the club. How's everybody doing tonight? I just realized I put on the wrong face today, so I look a little strange. I'm going to fix it a little bit later on, but trust me, I'm not as angry as I look right now. Right now, I'm a lot happier than I was yesterday, because it's after Thanksgiving Day, and I'm just on a turkey hangover right now. But I will fix that, I promise. I don't want to disturb you guys with my scowl of a face, because I'm not upset at all, because we're getting towards the end of IAE2952, one of my favorite events in the verse, and while it's been a long marathon of streams, we are limping towards the end, and it's been a great week. Tonight, it looks like Misc is going to be taking over the hall, and they have an interesting lineup of ships, so I can't wait to check those out. Alright, let's get our Jax update on.
So, with my cutter out of commission, I've stowed away in the extra-large hold of this Misc Freelancer Max. I should be through the Stanton jump point, and I've landed at a nearby rest stop. Ready? Freedom! No! No, 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 no. No. No, I mean, this cannot be happening to me! Hey, you, where are you, man?
Ruin Station.
You mean I'm still in Pyro? This rate, I'll miss next year's IAE.
Not looking good for Jax out there, huh? We'll have to help him get back to the Stanton system, where he's sadly missed. At least by me. I want to get back to some of the old traditional Jax McCleary stuff. And, alright. Let's take it from the top. Miss Day. Super excited for this. Musashi Industrial Starlight Concern. Better known as Misc, because nobody wants to say that. Misc has taken over the Expo Hall, and not unsurprisingly, their large ship, the ship that we all love to hate, the Starfarer, is the centerpiece today. And it looks like we've got the very popular Prospector on the left, and on the far right, the Hull A, the first of the Hull series to enter the game. So, Misc is looking pretty good tonight. My space trucking heart was super excited when the Hull A came out. Mainly just because I was surprised to see any Hull ship at this point, but I think they did a really good job with the Hull A. Let's see if we can sneak inside. Anyway, the Hull A is the entry-level cargo transport ship in the Hull series from Misc. The Hull series of ships is very popular in shipping and diverse, particularly, I believe, the Hull C. I believe that's the most common one that you'll see. But the A is the starter. What makes the A's and the B's special is that they can land in atmosphere as well as fly around in space. The other hulls outside of the A and B are too large to land planet side. Anyway, these are focused 100% on hauling. They don't pretend to be anything else but a hauling machine. But I still think they did a pretty good job with this, staying true to the Misc design language. You got a little suit locker back here. The living space back here is pretty nice. But I wasn't surprised because I like the living space inside the Prospector as well too, which we've had in game for quite some time. But you know, you got your meal accommodations, weapon locker here. So you got a mini bar for your brewskis. Got a bathroom. I don't know how I feel about the bathroom, but it's a good bathroom. Nice and comfortable. We're not talking about a chalet deal here. Oh, I'm sorry, we are talking about a chalet deal. It's just that there's more space than just a chalet in here. What am I talking about? It's Star Citizen. Of course it's a chalet. But it's a functional one. Now, what if this toilet paper dispenser gets stuck when you're retracting the toilet and you gotta take a shower and it's always getting wet, huh? Anyway, fully stocked with Dare. Dare to be bold. You know, we've got another vampire mirror, so he can't see me here. Bummer. But, it's great. This is a great bathroom. I could spend all day rating the bathroom, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that. But got great accommodations here for one. Nice little bed and everything like that. I love this living space for what it is. Yes, it is definitely a hotel shower. Anyway, moving along, we've got nice component accesses here, and then I kind of like the bridge. Although I'll tell you what my big disappointment here is. If we can get inside. So you got the cab here, which looks pretty nice. Makes me think of what a space semi-truck probably looks like on the inside. Nice, good Misc design language. You're staying true to that. My only disappointment here, and my only knock on this ship, is that it's got the typical bulbous thing going on that the Misc ships have. And it looks like you would have some glass here on the bottom, but you don't, like the Freelancer does. So you don't really have the visibility on the lower end of the ship down here that you do up top. And you might have noticed also that there's a small turret there. This is obviously not designed for combat, so don't expect anything special there. I think it's like 2 size 1 pew-pews going on out there. But I like the pew-pews. Anyway, getting to what this ship really does, which is hauling cargo. It carries 48 SUs of cargo, and when this thing is fully extended, you can see the shipping containers on the side, which is kind of a nice feature to this one. So anyway, I like the hull A. I think it's nice. The only thing I guess you would knock it for is that it is purely just for hauling goods. So, you know, you can't carry vehicles on this at all. Like at all. Just not for that. But these are great ships. They fly pretty good. And actually, for you Expanse fans out there, I think it looks like an Expanse ship when it's like fully loaded and pulled out. If you look at it from the top. That's my take on that one. That is our hull A. Let's talk about the Prospector before we get into the Starfarer. I think the Starfarer is going to be a little controversial. The Prospector, in my opinion, is like one of the best ships to have in the verse. Like, and this is just my opinion, but just because mining is lucrative. There's been some changes to the mining game, and you know it's a little bit more involved now, but you can still make a ton of money with it. And out of all the mining vehicles we have, I still think this is the most convenient one to have. Prospector is a single-seater mining ship. You can see out here you've got your mining laser here, which can be upgraded to handle different types of minerals and stuff like that. It is, in my opinion, still the preferred mining ship of choice, especially if you guys watched Argo Day, where we tried to take out an Argo mole. That was painful. Used to be a lot more fun than it was, but I don't know, I feel like the mole's in a bad spot right now. Anyway, getting back to the Prospector. Very nice interior in here. Great living space, if you ask me. Not quite as good as the hull, but it's not as new as the hull. But, you know, plus you're really not supposed to be back here forever. Maybe like a full day of mining, but not like long hauls like a hull ship or anything like that. But you do have a bathroom back here, and, you know, as you guys know how I feel about the bathroom. And it's a chalet system. Very tight chalet, but a chalet nonetheless. We're missing dare, though. We need to get some more dare here. I think the ship came out before they started, you know, stocking dare in most of the ships by default. And going in here in the cockpit, you'll see that the Prospector, unlike the hull A, has superior visibility, which is obviously necessary for mining. So you get nice views of everything. These are fun ships to fly. I guess my knock on it really is I think it's only got one shield generator, which, you know, is really not good, especially because if you're in a Prospector, pirates love to mess around with Prospectors. Now, I'm not saying you can't outrun most of these pirates, but I really feel like it needs to have another shield generator. I hope they'll revisit that at some point. Anyway, let's talk about the Starfarers, the ship that people love to hate. Starfarer is a refueling and refinery ship, very important for logistics in the game, and I think it's going to have an increased importance with Pyro coming out and more systems that aren't developed, right? We're going to need fuel for our starships, so these ships are going to be pretty important for that. The reason why I think people hate them is that the style leaves a lot to be desired. You're either going to love it or hate the way that it looks. I haven't met too many people who like the way that it looks. And then the other thing to hate about these ships is just the maze of an interior that's inside. I guess we can check that out for a little bit. But aside from that, I mean, these are really useful ships. It's got liquid storage tanks, as you can see on the back here, for fuel. It can also double as a cargo hauler, which I think is a plus, so that, you know, if you're not selling fuel, you can carry about 291 SUs of cargo. I don't know why they didn't just give it 300 to just make it, you know, easy to calculate in your head, but anyway, 291 SUs of cargo. It's got a loading ramp here, so you can put vehicles in here, so that's not bad either. And yes, as you brought up, I don't know if I could see it here, there's a refueling arm that jets out the back here. So now you can start refueling ships. Yeah, that's just schnozzle. I've had hit or miss success refueling with this thing, but it's going to be great. You can be the mobile Exxon gas station and set your own prices and all that stuff, so that's cool too. I like the concept of it. The execution, I don't know, like this interior leaves a little to be desired for me. First off, I find it to be a maze. Now, granted, I get lost easily, so you know, you have to give me that, but this ship doesn't help at all. I think that's a catwalk over there. This is kind of nice out here. I like this little deck where you can kind of like walk out into space, check out your gas. Here's your refueling arm. You know, you need gas? I got gas. Yeah. Any laughs for that? Thank you. Anyway. But navigating the rest of the ship, like the living quarters, the bridge, all that stuff's kind of hard to get to for me. Yes, the refueling arm is functional already. For me, I thought it was a little janky with at least its first rollout with refueling. I know you guys will be like, no, it's super simple, but when they first announced it, I tried to refuel like an Arrow with this thing, and I forgot what the other ship was. And we were just crashing into the schnozzle and all that stuff, and I swear I took out somebody more experienced than I was. But I have not tried it since it was introduced and it was the latest thing, so maybe they've patched it and it's better. And I missed the elevator there. Bummer. Anyway, though, I think this is like one of the earlier ships. It's been well stated that it's going to get a redesign, and I think it's in sore need of it, more so than the 600i. But, you know, it is one of the earlier ships, so we have to cut them some slack on that one. But the floor plan leaves, you know, a lot to be desired, in my opinion. And just climbing in and out of this thing regularly, I'm sure eventually you'll get the hang of it, but it seems like a lot to me. Especially, let's say, if you're going to do some cargo runs, you know, to get out of the bridge and then come out to the back, load your stuff up. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, the function of the ship is great. It's going to be, like, one of the more valuable ships. I mean, I myself, I'm dogging this ship, but I got the Gemini version myself, just because, you know, I want to have a logistics org, so having a Starfarer seems like a very important ship to have. Let's pretend you're me and that you bought a Starfarer. I would buy this one here, the Starfarer Gemini, just because it has the same functionality, but this one has increased heavier armor, so it's going to be able to take more of a pounding. And at least my reasoning is that most of the areas where you're going to make the most money with this ship are probably going to be contested areas of space, or it may not necessarily be the safest pockets. So I think the extra armor is going to come in handy. This one also has 3-man turrets that are size 5, so that's not bad either. 2 size 5 laser autocannons and 1 size 6 missile launcher, so it can bruise. Alright, our mission is to find the bridge this time. We won't fail. Let's see, Shadow agrees with me, but somewhat dependent on price difference. Well, I think the price difference is only $40. I mean, I'll see later when let's climb up here and see if this takes me where I want to go. I'll see later when I take a look at the prices, but I think there's only like a $40 price difference. Now, all the ships are overpriced, right? So, taking that into consideration, But I think the way that Star Citizen prices their ships, it's hard to find a better deal. Alright, looking at the Starfarer bridge because I couldn't find it, and I really don't want to waste this whole video trying to find it. It's the only ship that has like a true Star Trek bridge to me, and I'm a big Trekkie. So, you know, the Captain Kirk in me loves that captain's chair there, and the fact that you'd have your crew like driving the ship over there. Well, flying the ship and handling everything, and you can kind of like bark out orders and all that stuff. So that is one thing I really do like about this ship. But the fact that it takes me forever to find that bridge, and I failed to do so in this video in 5 minutes, really bothers me. But anyway, that's the Starfarer Gemini, the Starfarer I believe you should get. And it looks like, from what I can tell from you guys agree. Also, look at those extra missiles in front. This thing means business. Alright, welcome to Freelancer Hall. As the freelancers have taken over this wing of the expo. And it's a pretty good lineup. One that's been around for some time. Freelancers are so old that they've already been redesigned once. And I think they probably need another redesign. We'll talk about that though in a second. But yeah, the Freelancers are, you know, one of your premier hauling ships in the game. Medium haulers anyway, in my view. Medium freight ship. These are hybrid ships, like most Misc ships are, with Xeon thruster technology on them. Let's start out with the base Freelancer here. It carries 66 SEUs of cargo, which is important since that's the main function of the ship. These also have turrets on them as well too. I believe a size 6 turret, 2 size 5 guns, 2 size 4 missile racks, and 2 size 3 missile racks. So it is well armed. I always think that this is more narrow than it is, but it can hold, you know, a decent amount of vehicles in here. I think I got 2 STVs back here. But yeah, it can fit a rock, which is good. Just super tight. I think when the rock first debuted, didn't they sell it with this, or was it with the Cutlass? So usually you're comparing this to the Cutlass also when you buy it, so I'm glad that kind of came up. This is the turret in the back also, by the way. I think, for some reason, I'm remembering clipping my vehicle on this thing for the turret. So I always thought that that was a little bit annoying about this design. But these are good hauling ships, definitely to start out your hauling career. Oh, and Mythic says an Ursa rover will fit back here, so yeah, that's a plus. This is an extra storage area here, right? I think you can put like your packages for deliveries and stuff there. Anyway, you got your side doors here. The ship has more than one way to get in, so I guess it already gets a nod over my Mercury, although they've told me they're going to go back and add another door to the Mercury. It does have a bathroom, so it gets points for that, right? Let's give it some props for that. Little bathroom. Chalet deal going on there. Are these wine glasses? No, okay, standard glasses. I was going to say, I was really stepping up to Origin levels here. Anyway, your crew has a bunk bed here. You know, it's not great, but still better than what you're going to get with a Drake, obviously, right? And when I first saw the bridge here, I thought Millennium Falcon, you know, when they first introduced this ship years ago. Now looking at the bridge, I think it's probably the one thing I think they need to change. It's a little tight in here. But you do have seats for all 4 of your crew, which is nice, and I guess all you guys can talk to each other and stuff like that. Shadow Girl says she loves the bridge. So, you know, to each their own. But yeah, my opinion, I think it's a little tight in there for my taste. It does have a sunroof, though. I just noticed that here. So that's nice. The other thing I don't like about this ship, and it's just completely just me being picky, is again, for the same reason I don't like the Hull A. Your visibility below the waist is like really cut off here. Your visibility in general is like super tight on this one. I like to see as much as possible, so that's just me, a personal preference, but you know, it flies pretty good for a medium hauler. I definitely like it, and you're getting more armor than you would get with the Drake, so there's that too. And as Mythic proved to me, kind of changed my mind on this, these are decent combat ships as well, if you know what you're doing, which I clearly don't. Speaking of the rework, if you look at earlier concept images of this ship, it was a little bit more squarish. And it's kind of become more of a phallic-looking shape to me. If you look at it from above, we'll get into that in a second. Anyway, this is the Freelancer Dur. I actually owned a Dur for a short period of time. It came in a ship pack. I'll never get a ship pack again. But, yeah, the Dur is their exploration variant of the Freelancers. I didn't enjoy the Dur that much, mainly because, you know, pathfinding's not really in the game so much. But I think it is a decent pathfinder if you're into that. And I believe it's also supposed to have a fuel refinery on it. Anyway, it's got an enhanced jump drive on this version. So you're trading up cargo space for all the exploration gear in here. But it can still hold 36 SEUs of cargo. And just to bring up my point on the phallicness of the Freelancer series, let's see if we can get an external view here. No step. Anyway, trust me, I'm having trouble proving this right now with the camera angle, but if you're in a standard Freelancer and you look at it, it's just not going to work with me. Trust me, do it. You'll see what I'm seeing. Very phallic. Anyway. Misc, either you agree with the way it looks or you don't. I'm not too crazy about the bulbous cockpits. That's like the only thing I don't like about them. Yeah, I mean, it either speaks to you or it doesn't speak to you. This one looks kind of cool on the outside, but the actual practicality of it right now isn't really there, so I kind of would pass on the Dur. Plus, I also don't like the name, the Dur. Alright, let's talk about Mythic's baby here, the big bird, the Freelancer Max, which, in my opinion, is probably the Freelancer to get. This has a whopping 120 SCUs of cargo capacity in the back here, and you can tell it's really big. This one definitely fits an Ursa rover. Max is a Studley ship. Yes, she is. Looks like your typical Freelancer here on the inside. So I'm not going to go too much about the interior stuff, but one thing I enjoy about flying a Max is anybody who's flown a Max, you know, when you take it off, the nose goes up really fast and then the rear kind of drags in the back, you know, because she's got a lot of junk in the trunk, and I like that about her. I also think the Max has the best base paint job. I mean, I don't personally fly a Freelancer, but I ordered like a Freelancer 3D printed model of the Max just because I loved the color scheme of it. That's how crazy I am. But you can see you've got your turrets there on the side. I mean, she's well heavily armed. Definitely going to make you a lot of money for cargo transport. And if you don't believe that the Max is a good ship, you can argue with Mythic over there. He will tell you all the good points about the Max. And he's right. But yeah, anyway. Still a very phallic ship, if you ask me. Anyway, great ship. I think if you're going to get a Freelancer, why not step up to this one? Real moneymaker. However, if you're not going to get this one, this is a pretty good second choice, I think. Freelancer MIS. This one was introduced, I think, with the first Invictus event. It is basically a missile boat. That's the payload that it's carrying. So, if you're looking for a bargain basement missile boat, I think this one is the one to get. It's not super cheap, but it's more heavily armed. One size 6 turret on top, 2 size 3 cannons, but the missiles, that's what we're talking about on this one. 2 size 5 missile racks, 2 size 4 missile racks, and another 2 size 4 missile racks. So it's a lot of missiles. And of course you're trading up cargo space for this one, so only 36 SCUs of cargo. But that's because these missiles are taking up a lot of space back here. Anyway, I do like the MIS. I like the paint job. You know, if missiles are your thing, I guess if going into something like Xenothreat is your thing and you need a Freelancer to do it, this would be the one. I always felt like they introduced this one because, like, when Invictus first came out, MIS didn't really have too many military ships. So I felt like, okay, they were like, okay, let's make a military Starfarer, military Freelancer, And oh yeah, let's take that racer and make it a military one too. So to me, I never really think of Misc as very much of a military brand, but on paper and in practice, I mean, they do perform very well in combat. I just feel like it's more of a logistical. The Reliance series. So let's see, the Reliants are Misc starter ships. Well, they feel like they're a little bit more than just a starter to me, but I guess technically it is. The gimmick with these is that they have the transforming wings, which is, you know, it's kind of nice. It worked on me at first when it first came out, but then in practice, I think these ships leave a lot to be desired. Let's start out here. I think this is the Core. Yes, which is the entry-level freight version of the Reliance. Before we dive into that, just the style of the Reliant, I kind of like the idea of it. Like, I don't know, have you guys ever watched the original Batman TV series? Like, you know, the original Batmobile had like this bulbous thing going on, and I feel like these ships have that. Like, it looks like the original Bat helicopter or something. I don't know, to me anyway. But yeah, these wings transform right way up. I wish I had had the video ready to show you guys. Maybe on the replay video I'll show it there. This one's geared towards carrying cargo, although it doesn't carry very much cargo because it's a starter ship. Only 6 SCUs. My biggest gripe with this one is it's the only one that doesn't have a bed on it, which I don't get. I really don't. I guess they ripped out the beds for the cargo space, but it seems like that would be useful to me when I'm looking at starter ships. The other thing I don't like about these is that, to me, for a cargo hauler, I wish you could carry like some sort of ground vehicle. You might be able to squeeze a buggy back there, but I'm not even sure about that. So I think that's a little bit disappointing, but the design of the ship I kind of like. Again, I don't know why I get Mandalorian vibes. Maybe when I look at this stainless steel metal with the bolts and what have you, and the thrusters, it just makes me feel that way. But anyway, so that's your Core. Not really too much to talk about on this one. Except if I was going to go Reliant, I think I'd pass up on the Core. I'm pronouncing it Core, but I guess it's spelled Core. I don't know. How would you guys pronounce that one? Anyway, this is the Sun. The Sun is the exploration and science variant of the Reliance series, and I believe it does have a bed, so I'm just going to double check that. You can tell you've got a science suite back here. Yeah, got a little microscope going on here. We do have bunk beds here for the crew, so that's nice. Beds, of course, are important for logging in and out. And you got a bathroom on this one too, as well too. See, the Core didn't even have a bathroom. So you got your standard Misc chalet system going on here. Not bad. You know, for the long hauls, if you need to do that. Yeah, it's a Tana. So the Tana is like their light fighter version. This wasn't very good at first, but they kind of reworked it a little bit. So my impression was that it was a little bit better than where it was. But Shadow did bring up the fact that she feels that it cannot really take a pounding in a fight. And she doesn't steer me wrong, so I'm going to agree with her on that. I haven't really used it that much. Is there an NPC that's stuck in there? But even this one has the bed, so that's the other thing I don't really get. He's like out there. One thing, I mean, since we're here, and I've been talking about this with Misc, if you're going to have a bulbous cockpit, you got to have the visibility, and these do have the visibility. So that's kind of nice. And they handle pretty well too, and I kind of like the transforming wing thing. Like where it goes up and down. I mean, it works on me. I know it's a gimmick just to sell ships, but it works for me. When it comes to the Tana, we talked about the Tana. I just want to circle back on the Tana real quick because I forgot to mention that it has 2 size 3 lasers on it. And a size 1 laser, autocannon, and 2 size 5 missile launchers. But a total of 16 missiles altogether, so they did make it better in a sense that it can carry more. But, you know, its defensive capabilities are still probably a problem. Mako or Mako, who knows? Maybe it's a little wacko. This one is supposed to be designed for recording content and diverse. I'm not sure how they plan on implementing that. But for all your news types you want to cover, like races or action on the battlefield and that sort of stuff, that's what this one is supposed to be used for. And I guess it has like an editing room in here, which is kind of cool. So I think I'll just get it for the gimmick of it. But obviously, every other ship in my hangar was more of a priority than getting this one. Just because, I mean, again, it's one of those ships that you get just to kind of have, but there isn't like a true purpose for it yet in the verse. Okay, I think that's enough on that. Alright, let's get out of here, out of this room. It's not my impression that these are popular ships. I don't really hear anybody really going, hey, I can't wait to fly my Reliant today. I kind of feel like they should have a true starter ship, but I guess the Reliants are their starter ship. It's just nobody would buy them. But they do have racing ships, and that's what we're looking at here with the Razor lineup. These do look pretty cool if you ask me. I don't know if anybody's asking me, but as far as the style of this ship goes, I like them a lot. Using them, I wasn't too impressed with, but let's just go through the lineup. So the base Razor, I believe that's the blue one over here, is a racer developed specifically for the Murray Cup in lore to compete with Origin and all that stuff. I don't know how successful it was, but it's there, and it uses a fuel collection technology, so I guess it's supposed to be like super fuel efficient. I think it looks pretty cool, but you know, I guess my problem with this ship is the same problem I have with the Arrow. It's too fast for me. Anyway, in the middle here we got the Razor LX, which is more of a luxury version. It's supposed to have overclocked engines for straight line speed. And unfortunately with that straight line speed, there's reduced maneuverability, which wouldn't be good for me. And then over here we have a stealth variant that's supposed to be used for recon purposes in the military. This is the Razor EX. Let's see if I can get inside this one. EX is slower than the Racer, but it's got 2 size 2 gun hardpoints and size 1 missiles. That's kind of nice, and you know, I mean, it's got a nice interior. I just think, for some reason, I like the M50 more, and I guess the M50 is smaller, so in combat it's kind of harder to hit an M50. But these are alright. Alright, let's kick it off with the Endeavor, which we talked about a little bit earlier before we got to the conference hall here. I happen to like the idea of the Endeavor a lot, and I like the price point that it's at right now. Like, I think if you're thinking of getting one of these, the window is still open for you. The Endeavor is basically a heavy science vessel designed for a crew of 3 to 5 people. And I just wanted to make sure that I was really looking at the Endeavor. I thought I was, but then I'm like, it could be not. Anyway, the Endeavor, yeah, crew of 3 to 5 people, has a cargo capacity of 500 SEUs, so that's not too shabby. It's a modular ship, so you should be able to buy the modules that most interest you for kitting out the ship. It's mainly going to be designed for like medical and science purposes, but there is also a hangar module in there, so if you're a hauler like me, you might want to just get this maybe to haul some ships too. Who knows? It's basically meant to be a floating laboratory. Now, depending on how much you really want to geek out with this ship, they've got other modules like a high-powered telescope, that sort of stuff going on there. And actually, let me see. I think I got pictures of this one. These are early concept art images of it. But I want to get to one that just has like the modules themselves. So it's going to be a modular ship where you can basically buy the modules. And if you trust the info runners, and I do, they say wait to buy these in game because you know, they're going to be fairly inexpensive. The ship maybe not so much so. Let's see, you're going to have a medical module. I think we talked about that. High-powered telescope, floating laboratory, greenhouse, so you can grow your drugs in there. Stage 2 workshop, I'm not sure what that's about. And Stage 3 drive. I guess that's where the power plant and all that stuff is, but you can see here some early concept art of what the greenhouse might look like. Anyway, I'm not sure the style of this ship necessarily appeals to me, although I really like this section here. But this could be your capital ship, I think, like for your org or whatnot, especially like if you're doing a medical org. I think this one would definitely be the one to have. But, you know, it can be your base away from home. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be introduced anytime soon. Oh, and I forgot that the front section does detach. So that can be like a separate ship for you. So I think that that's really cool. There's a lot of really cool things about this ship, although I'm not really too crazy about this bulbous look here. But for your science types out there, maybe your agricultural types, maybe your hospital types. These are the modules that you can get. This may be the ship for you. The only problem I have with it is it's just an idea right now. Like many things in Star Citizen. We just don't know when it's going to be released, and I don't think it's going to be released anytime soon. But on the plus side, it's a great time for you to buy it. And let's see here. They're super old stats, and its numbers are expected to go up. It's expected to grow in size. Really? Because I already think it's pretty big. But you are right. Usually when they start, like, what do they call it, gray boxing it, and they actually start putting the models together, then they realize they need more space for stuff. So all of a sudden it gets like a lot larger in scale. So I think that's another reason why this could easily go to like 700 and up. I would think up, because like ships like the Odyssey, I think they're quoting at 700, and I think this is going to be way more valuable than that ship. You know, if you're really digging into the stats and the potential of the ship and what it can do, well, something to consider. Obviously a personal choice for everyone. Yeah, that's part of the info runner's logic. I have to admit, they sold me on this ship because I wasn't really thinking about it. But when you look at the value of the ship, and I forgot that the front part here detaches as well too. I think it's a really great design. However, I think the bigger the idea, the longer it is for it to actually get released. But I like the idea that it's modular as well too, so it's kind of like build your own capital ship. I do think with the Super Collider, it does look pretty slick. Kind of wrap my head around, because there's a lot of different features in there that they're talking about, and a lot of great things that it can do. So I definitely think if you're looking for a capital ship, or you don't know what you're going to do with one, or you're thinking about buying one, it's kind of like in that price point right now to look at. So you owe it to yourself to do some research on the ship. And maybe soon, because when they started announcing that they've actually started working on the ship, that's when these things tend to get a big price hike. So you want to get in early on these things. Anyway, moving along. What do we have here? Is this the Expanse? I'm going to guess. This is the new Misc ship that was released this year. Or announced, I should say. It wasn't released. Who knows when it's going to get released. It is a small refining ship. It's going to have a crew size of 1, so think, I guess, Prospector size on the inside, most likely. 64 SU cargo capacity, and a 4 mainly of these cargo pods here, which will hold refined minerals, from my understanding. It's got integrated tractor beams as well, too, so I guess it's going to collect minerals and then be able to refine it right here. So I guess that's the true value of the ship right now, because right now you mine minerals, you take it to the refinery at a base, and then you wait for it to get refined and all that stuff. But what if you're out there and you don't have a base to get back to, and you might just want to save on that cost? So if you're a mining org, it looks like these ships will probably be important to you. Yeah, to work with a prospector, so like with a fleet of prospectors, you figure there's probably going to be at least one of these guys. So the prospectors will like fill up their tanks and then drop their pods, and maybe this guy collects it. I'm just guessing. That's how I'm envisioning it in my head. I think it's a cool ship. A little bit overpriced, if you ask me, and we'll get into that in the Best and Bad Buys section, but should be interesting gameplay. I really like how mining's been implemented, so I have no reason to believe that this wouldn't be a fun gameplay loop. Alright, moving along, we got the Misc Odyssey here. The Carrack Killer, as it's marketed. I'm not sure it is a Carrack Killer, but this is Misc's take on an exploration ship, although some argue it's more survey than exploration. I kind of lean more towards the Odyssey than a Carrack myself, just because the gameplay looks like it's going to be more geared towards also working hand-to-hand with what Misc does a lot of, which is like mining and stuff like that. So it's going to have a lot of scouting capability to it. It's also going to have a tier 2 med bay on the inside, so similar to what the Carrack's got going on in there. But this one has a mining arm on it and tractor beam, so that's why I'm kind of saying it's more geared towards mining. Whereas Carrack is probably more geared towards exploring strange new worlds and all that stuff. This one seems like the exploration is more for financial gain. But I'm okay with that, being a capitalist myself. So, anyway. You got the tier 2 med bay because you're obviously going to be doing long distance expeditions with this guy. It's got a small vehicle hangar bay, I believe just for one single ship. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be the size of like the Pisces hangar bay and the Carrack. I could be wrong about that. It's going to come with a mining laser though, so that's a big plus, and definitely also another reason why I think it's more geared towards mining. And it's going to have an onboard refinery as well too. A lot of Misc ships have that refining option, huh? Anyway, designed for a crew of 4 to 6 people. I'm sorry, I bumped into you, Miss. And also, it's got 252 SCUs of cargo capability there, so you can be able, so you can do some light, cargo hauling with this one as well too. And I think it does have a ground vehicle hangar bay. So, I think for me, like, I would get more mileage out of this than a Carrack because I enjoy mining a little bit more. But I could be totally swayed on that. My ideas on that could be swayed depending on how exploration is implemented. We just don't know yet, right? So who knows? Let's see. Let's put Shadow's take on this one. Carrack will have fun drones. Okay. I didn't know it's going to have a drone capability. Let's see. It's a small bay or a tiny bay. The Carrack has a tiny vehicle bay. To be honest, I don't know, but I do have images. Let's take a look. Let's create some rumors here. Let's do some speculation. This comes from my favorite site, starcitizens.tools. They usually aggregate the information for me, so I don't have to. And they put together a large all the images that they could find on it. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but these guys save me a lot of time. It looks like we're looking at one of the hangar bays here on the inside. So it truly says it can only mine and refine fuel for itself, though. Oh, okay. Well, that's an important key right there. So that's where you would need to have, your Starfarers and Expanses involved, huh? Well, I mean, that's fine for you. You'll never get stuck anywhere. Okay, this is the vehicle bay we're talking about here. So it looks like the ground vehicles can go up here and, should come as no shock. This looks like a rock here, right? That's why I just feel like this is like mining exploration. It's not like, like Star Trek exploration. Let's see, that's from the Q&A. I'm glad you brought that up because I try to get as much general information as I can about all these ships, but I'm not very good at getting all the nitty-gritty specifics about every ship because there's over 100 ships. So I love it when you guys come in here and you add more info for me. Looks like, what is this? Is that a saber next to it? I'm just trying to get a size comparison here. Going on here. I seem to be able to zoom in, but not zoom out. Anyway, I'm not crazy about the way the ship itself looks, but I like the idea of a capital ship like this. I was actually disappointed that, the Jax McCleary stuff, like he left for Pyro on one of these ships, so I was expecting a follow-up this year on it. Which just goes to show me maybe they had plans of releasing it next year, like this year, and something fell through and they weren't able to work on it. Because even though not everything's functional, I don't see why they can't release it the way they released the Carrack. I mean, people would still buy it. That's just my opinion. So this is so that's a small size bay. Oh, it's a Buccaneer ship? Okay. And so the vehicle bay is larger than what the Carrack can hold, huh? So if I were to look at these side by side, this would be larger than a Carrack. It does look massive. Are they going to sell this fuel tank truck? I would buy that. The American Euro trucker in me would buy that. Here's the room that Shadow cares about. Dr. Shadow could be here on the ship. And here it is doing some mining. So it looks like it's helping out Prospector with some mining. So that's pretty cool, right? Let's see, fuel tank truck would be like for target practice. Yeah. You guys would be attacking me, right? While I'm driving around. Speaking of attack, this looks like it's depicting some of the defense capabilities here. What's interesting to me is like in all these pictures, it seems like it's not by itself, right? It's like in a fleet of Odysseys. But it definitely seems like a heavy industrial exploration ship to me. Those are the vibes I'm getting. I don't know, pretty compelling ship. The marketing worked on me. I think I would trade up. I think I might get rid of the Carrack and just go with this one. For me. Not because I think it's a Carrack killer, but I just think that the type of exploration that this does with the mining stuff is more like what I'm interested in doing in the game. Let's see, it holds a small size ship that's kind of huge. It's true. Yeah, because the Carrack just holds like a small snub ship, right? Like the Pisces. It happens to be an excellent, snub, but it is small. Anyway, we talked about the hulls earlier before. Only the hull A and B can land on the atmosphere. So once we get to the C's, you can see it can't land. And as a matter of fact, since it can't land, they decided to put some storage containers at the bottom there, to totally maximize its space. From a lore perspective, the hull C is supposed to be the most widely and commonly used cargo hauling ship. Yeah, so it's the most popular hull ship. So I'd imagine you're going to see a lot of NPCs flying around in this as well too. And since we're talking about the hulls, just to keep the cargo capacities into perspective, the hull A we said can carry 48 SUs. Hull B carries 384 SUs. Now hull C, this one here, carries a whopping 4,608 SUs of cargo, which you would think should be enough, right? But when we step up to the hull D, that holds 20,736 SUs of cargo. And does anybody know what a hull E can hold? A hull E carries 98,304 SUs of cargo. I can't imagine buying that much cargo. As a matter of fact, I lost 697 SUs of cargo last night, and that was painful enough. So, that is a sick amount. Anyway, I think that covers our concepts. Why don't we get into the sales numbers here and see what is a best and bad buy of the day, excuse me, for Misc. Oh yeah. Alright, Best and Bad Buys, the Misc edition. Yeah. Because Misc doesn't have enough refining ships, we have the new entry this year, the Expanse, at $150 USD. I think it's going to be a good ship. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to have, but I am not crazy about this price point, especially not knowing enough about the gameplay. So I'm going to have to kill this one and give it a bad buy to start us off. Sorry, Expanse. Alright, the Freelancer at $110. It's got a phallic shape, but it's got a really good form and feature. Got really good functionality. It's going to be able to make you enough money to buy your Expanses and all the other ships you have out there. I still kind of lean more to Drake, but that's my Drake bias, so I would go with a Cutlass over this one, but I'm going to say at $110. I'm feeling generous. I think it's an okay buy. And the reason why I think it's okay is only because, like, if you only have to buy one ship, make sure it's a moneymaker. And I think this one can make you some money. Freelancer Dur, though, however, at $135, we're going to kill this one as a bad buy. I just don't know enough about exploration. It's not out in the game yet, so I'd rather spend that money on something else. Something else like this, possibly. The Freelancer Max at $150. I'm not crazy about the price, but I do like everything the Max can do. I like basically that it's just, an upgraded Freelancer with that whopping 120 SUs payload in the back. So, and it's also, as Mythic has changed my mind on, it can hold itself up pretty well in combat. So technically it's a bad buy, but I'm going to give it an okay buy. Only because if you save up some more money towards this one, I think you'll be okay with this one. It's the only ship you ever need. But it is a little overpriced for what it is. Speaking of overpriced for what it is, let's talk about the Freelancer MIS here at $175. I think it's a bad buy because it's a niche ship. Not saying that the Freelancer Max is not niche, but at least I can carry some vehicles back there and more cargo capacity than this one. This one, you know, it has its use cases, but I think you're really going to be playing out more for special events and things like that. But hey, I could be wrong. I'm sure there's a MIS pilot out there who disagrees with me. Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Alright, the Hull A at $90. I like this ship. I like that it's an entry-level hull. I don't like that it's $90, so I really wish it was closer to around the $60 range. Even though I know people are saying, hey, you know, it's a light freight ship that carries a decent amount of freight. I think around 60-something SEUs of cargo. But I don't like that you can't carry any... Oh, it actually carries less than that. It carries 48 SEUs of cargo. But I don't like that you can't put any vehicles inside this one. I think especially now that the cutters come out, you probably would enjoy the cutter more than this one. So we're going to give this one a bad buy. Even though, yes, I know it carries more cargo than a cutter does. but it doesn't carry any vehicles for me, so that's kind of a big one. And I think if you just want to carry cargo, why not just spend $10 more and get a Freelancer? Alright, Hull B, $140. It's not out yet. It's going to carry more cargo, significantly more actually at 384 SEUs. So for something that can carry 384 SEUs of cargo, it's actually kind of an okay deal, right? Because, I mean, sure, we're not talking about Caterpillar numbers yet, but 384 is nothing to sneeze at. You'll be able to make some money with that. That's under $200, right? I must not say it sucks. Anyway, going with the Hull C for $350. You know, I think it's a great ship. I don't like it at $350 though. I think this is a buying game, so I'm gonna kill this one with a bad buy. All right, Hull D, conquer the cargo competition for $450. What a deal! Right now it feels like a steal because right now it's an idea and it's not in game yet. It'll probably go up a little bit in price, but I don't think by very much. So anyway, I think it's a bad buy, and I'm going to stick with that. I think this should be a stretch goal for you to earn in game if you really want to get up that high. And the Hull E, it's $750. You know, hey, I mean, the amount of cargo you can carry in this thing is going to far outweigh the value of the ship, but this is an all-day affair. This is a commitment, and the biggest thing I really don't like is when I see ships at this price range, I feel like they should be coming with LTI, and they don't. Right now it's only coming with the 10-year insurance, so, you know, I don't care if the stock is limited. You can buy this one in game, so let's kill it with a bad buy here. Are you saying that the hull is expanding on the phallic shape? I do agree with you, though. They started with the Freelancer, and then Misc continues it with their bulbous designs. Alright, getting away from the bulbousness a little bit is the Odyssey here, but it's still kind of bulbous. But a little less phallic. At $700, I think it's overpriced, but I really do like the idea of the ship. But, you know, $700 is just, it's overpriced. And now that it's out of concept, I don't even think it's LTI, so... let's double check. Let's take a look at the offers on this one. Yeah, just 120-month insurance. Get this out of here! It's a bad buy. Maybe not a bad CCU, though. So if you could CCU up to it, you know, I think you're doing okay for yourself. Prospector at $155, a little overpriced for what it is, but again, this is kind of like the Freelancer. It's going to open up a revenue stream for you, and it's convenient to have after the wipes and all that stuff, so I think it's an okay buy. I would like to see it technically $20 less, but I'll just say it's okay. Let's see, talking about LTI, Shadow says if you want lifetime, you could just buy the cutter with LTI and CCU to it. That's true. There's always an LTI token that you can CCU up to it. And if you're not familiar with the CCU game, check out the info runners and the videos that they've done on that. You can potentially save, hundreds of dollars playing the CCU game. But it is a little confusing. I think one time I bought like 8 CCUs and had to chain them all together. It's kind of crazy, but it's possible. You can do it out there. The website is the game behind the game. All right, going back to the sales here with the Razor. I think all the Razors are going to be a bad deal here, so just kill this at 145. Terrible deal for a Racer. For a ship like this, that's kind of like, it's kind of niche, low value. In my opinion, these shouldn't be more than like 35 bucks. So I don't like them at this price range at all. May look nice, but let's kill it. Bad buy. Let's see, Nas says he CC'd you to a Corsair for 185 as opposed to 250. Yeah, see? So, I mean, either way, we're overpaying, right? But let's overpay by just a little less. And you snag some LTI with that. So definitely CCU it. I'm not good at explaining CCU stuff, but info runners, I highly recommend. Check them out. They do a great job of that. And they'll even tell you what the chains are. All right, Razor LX, $150. No way. Get it out of here. Reliant Core, $65. Typically for a starter ship, this isn't a bad price, but when you compare it to other starter ships like the Cutter, I mean, it gets to be an even worse deal. So this is going to be a bad buy for me. Mako, bad buy, although don't be surprised if you see me flying one of these around. Did I pronounce it right? Mako? I'd rather call it the Mako, even if it is the Mako. Reliant Sen for all your scientific needs. Dr. Shadow, maybe you'd use this one to make your pills. Anyway, I think it's a bad deal. Save it for the Endeavor. But the Endeavor is only like 350, so I mean, it's still kind of expensive, but I don't know. That's if you bought all the Reliants, you'd be close to an Endeavor. Anyway, Reliant Tana at 75 bucks. I actually thought it was better than what it was. Shadow kind of took the wind out of my sails on this one. If a missile takes this thing out, then that's not good. But yeah, Reliant Tana at 75 bucks I think is kind of overpriced, and I'm not high on any fighters anyway. I think you can buy those in game. So let's kill this one as a bad buy. Let's see, Reliant Sen only has a microscope in there. That's true. It does. I was trying to help out the Reliants, but there's nothing I can do to help out the Reliants. Just like there's nothing I can do to help out Starfarers. If you just don't like the way the ship looks, you'll never like how it looks. But let's hope for the redesign that it does better. We talked about the ship. I mean, it's very valuable from a logistical perspective in game and what it can do. I think if you're in the market for a Starfarer, you definitely don't buy this one. I'm going to stick by that. But at $300, I'm not crazy about it. But I'm just thinking, if I were to compare it with other ships around this price range, like it's a little bit more than an MSR, right? I think what's that stealth bomber ship? The Eclipse, I think is $300. Anyway, my point is, ships that are around this price range won't make you as much money as this ship does. So if you're thinking of it from that perspective, it's kind of okay, but because it is overpriced and it's $300, we're going to give it a bad buy. And it looks terrible. And a floor plan. Don't even get me started on that. But if you are going to buy a Starfarer, I would say just throw in 40 bucks more and get the Gemini. But either way, I don't like these. Buy them in game. Especially because, like, if you're going to spend real-world money, I think you should like how it looks, right? And I don't like how this looks. I really don't. That's just me, though. Let's see, Shadow says, only buy an LTI token if you know that you want to turn it into something later. What you want to turn it into later. If you buy one, you're committing to buying something even more expensive down the road. I agree with you on that, and the other hidden thing about that is usually if you buy an LTI token war bond, you're getting it at like $5 to $10 discount anyway. So that's why that's my rationale anyway, and why I picked up like 10 mules, for example. I don't think it was quite 10, but I picked up a lot of those things. Just because immediately from your first CCU, you're already saving money. So, and it's LTI. Now, some people say LTI is going to be important, some people don't. I personally, for me, I buy ships because I want to save time. I work like all day, and then I come on here and play with you guys, right? So I don't really have time to like get every ship every time there's a wipe. So the ones that I really want, I'm kind of okay with pledging for, and maybe a small sector of my brain thinks, okay, I'm helping support this game, even though I think it's well funded at this point. So I don't know how big that argument is, but if you're into saving some time, you know, why not even like, if you can find a cheap LTI token, like right now I think the cutter is like $40. You could buy like 2 of those tokens, and knowing that it's going to be something else, because obviously you don't want an LTI cutter at the end of the day. I mean, you don't need an LTI cutter. But I like to just hold on to it because they're always going to, you know, drop some new ship or whatever. Or sometimes you miss out on a ship that you wish you had gotten, like Legionnaire is a ship that I wish I had gotten, but I didn't get. But since I have some LTI tokens, maybe I'll CC you up to it this time around. Who knows? So anyway, I totally agree with what you're saying there on buying ships equals saving time, and also, you know, get those tokens. Even if you don't know what you're going to CC it up to, I still think it's a good deal and a discount. And when I first started playing this game, I had a friend who just kept on telling me LTI is a ripoff, and you know, you don't really need the LTI, blah blah blah. But you know, I don't want to poo-poo on people who have that argument, because you're kind of right. It is kind of a scam just to get you to spend more money. But anybody who plays EVE Online, you'll know that the insurance cost in EVE Online is pretty expensive. So much so that I've lost ships to pirates, and I was able to get my ship back because I had it insured. But I wasn't able to buy new insurance on that ship, so I had to like play around with a lower class ship to make money before I could get back into my freighter. So I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure CIG is going to do this to us. So to me, the LTI and saving that time means something to me. But again, it's subjective, and everybody has an opinion, and nobody's opinion is wrong. So just go with whatever speaks to you. Anyway, the Endeavor at $350. We spent some time talking about this ship. I still think it's a great deal at $350. I blame the Info Runners. They totally sold me on this ship. I think if you want a budget capital ship, this is your buy right now. Even if you're thinking of a Banu Merchantman, I think those days are gone. The price is just too expensive. So I'm not crazy about pledging $350, so I'm just going to say it's an okay buy. But this might actually, in some respects, if you really think about it, it might be the best buy out of the Misc lineup. So think hard about that. Yes, I agree with you, Nas. I don't want to pay insurance. I don't want to pay the man. It's kind of funny because in reality, I do IT work for an insurance company. So insurance basically keeps the lights on here, but I sure as heck don't want to deal with it in the game. Anyway, the Expanse. We already talked about the Expanse, so I guess we went through all the ships. Let me know what you guys think. I think for the most part on 80% of this stuff, at least with the people here, we agree upon most of it, which is a pretty good number. I don't think you're ever going to get full agreement on anything, and that's one of the great things about Star Citizen, and especially talking about Best and Bad Buys. I think it's a debate and a conversation onto itself. We can talk about pledging and all that stuff, but I think that's one of the great things about this game, and if it ever gets released, it's going to be great from that aspect. So I don't think that's really, you know, going to be a plus here. Not crazy about the wingspan either. It's not exactly something I think that's going to be able to get you through tight spaces. Yeah, see? Like that. I did last 5 seconds longer than I thought I would, though. I think with some practice, though, I can do better than that. I'm better than that. It's just, you know, it's almost 3 a.m. Cut a brother a break. What can I say? Anyway, I think that's a sign. I really want to thank everybody who was hanging out with me tonight for Misc night. And we had some really great conversations about the ship sales. We guys opened my eyes to a few things. I think we all agree that the Endeavor is a sleeper ship. Definitely something I think you owe it to yourself to research the Endeavor if you haven't already. If you're in the market for a large-scale ship, it'd be something to consider. If not, though, I just hope you guys enjoy the rest of the IAE. There's some good deals out there, and even if you don't want to spend a penny, it's just a great time to try out this crazy experiment we call Star Citizen. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I will be back in the club tomorrow for RSI Day. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about there with the new RSI ship. I will give you guys my take. I'm looking forward to your take. And just having some general fun. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. 07, and I'll see you next time.